Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel every day in the month of October. It chooses the horror movie, and they discuss it. Today, we're talking about the 2004 film Van Helsing, which was directed by Steven Sommers. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Hey, I'm Justin.
And yet again, Eric's job is crazy right now. I think the World Cup is going on, so he's got a lot going on.
Yeah, clearly he's prioritized what's important to him. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, but he will be missed. He will be back. This is just, temporary, but, there's a lot going on. 31 movies in 31 days is a lot. So I
Eric, if you're listening to this, I really wanted you to do this with us.
I know.
Because, the people who don't know, if you're listening, the amount of, inside high school jokes that have stemmed from this movie, it's part of the foundation of our friendship.
I know. He was watching it, and then I don't know what happened. I think Pele broke his leg or something. So shit's going on in the sports world. So he's gotta cover it. I don't know.
Someone's got to
But
do it.
yeah, so it is a bummer though, because I really wanted Eric on for this one too. But yeah, the one thing I remember from a kid, I think you used to make fun of me because I love indie artsy kind of movies, and you're like, oh, Alec with your Little Miss Sunshine and blah blah blah, and I would just be like, okay, what's your fucking favorite movie? Van Helsing? And you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. What's wrong with it? It's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, the joke literally was, hey man, this Van Helsing movie was pretty cool, and you guys were like, oh, it's your favorite fucking movie. You have a poster of Van Helsing on the roof. I mean, on the ceiling in your bedroom. I was like, what?
You're like, well, to be honest, now I do have a tramp stamp of Van Helsing's face.
So I will say, I went to find this movie, and it was $3.99 to rent or $4.99 to buy, and I was like, why not?
I did that for Hannibal. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you were like, I'm not spending the extra dollar on this.
I watched it for free on Peacock, and that was a mistake, but yeah.
Oh, I don't have Peacock.
I don't have it either.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
So I think we both can agree that Kate Beckinsale and Hugh Jackman they're great actors.
Yeah.
They made this very mediocre movie pretty okay.
I thought about that too. I was like, why would they do this? And then I was like, all right, obviously money, but it was probably pretty fun. It was probably a pretty fun movie to be on set for, and you get to dress up in these cool things. With the exception of the CGI, they did use a good amount of practical effects, especially in the set. So I was like, you know what? This is probably pretty fun.
Yeah, it had a cool cast of actors. Didn't know that Igor was Benny from The Mummy. Didn't
know
if you
did. Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Dude, because I've seen it so many times, and I'm like, he sounds very familiar. And I looked at IMDb, and I was like, Benny?
I know. I was like, oh, that's why I wanted Eric on here, because I would have been like, oh, he would have flipped out. But dude, the only thing from this entire movie that I have a recollection of is when he's like, all right, if he doesn't answer, we'll cut off his fingers. And then it's like, well, I'll cut something off. And he's like, ah.
I don't remember that, dude.
When she's gonna cut his dick off with the thing.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only thing I remember from this movie, because I was like, yo, that would suck.
But this was pretty long.
Yeah.
For a C-rated movie, they were it was almost Lord of the Rings length.
Okay. A couple things from that reminded me of Lord of the Rings. First of all, it's got Faramir in it, which I was like,
yeah, not his best movie.
No. But I was also like, dude, I feel like they're like, all right, we need some epic shots of mountain ranges and stuff. And he's like, don't worry, I know Peter Jackson. Let me ask him. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it for $40 million. You can use the unedited or the unused footage from Lord of the Rings for your fucking shitty movie. Because dude, some of those shots, I'm like, this is too good for this movie. It looks too good.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely, they spared no expense. And I think IMDb rated it pretty fairly. It got a 6.1, and I would say that's fair.
That's high.
Again, Kate Beckinsale and Hugh Jackman, they were the movie.
Sure.
Everything else revolved around it. And I will say, this was the first movie where I heard Kate Beckinsale. She either does the American accent or British, and this is the first one where she's had an Eastern European, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah, she was it sounded like Russian, but she's Transylvanian or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was great. She was badass. So many unbelievable things though with her were dude, when the vampire women were attacking the village right after her brother got captured, and she flips off the thing and hits the tree. I was like, okay, 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 okay.
Dude, I found that scene funny. Like the main village guy who was like the graveyard dude. He
Yeah.
was like, they come and like feast on us monthly. He's like, and I was just thinking, like, why don't you guys just move? You know, like I don't like if I lived in Transylvania, I would be like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move to the next country over.
Well, it's not like nowadays where they can just go on, like, Airbnb. It's like, "Should we try out Romania for a month?" It's like, "Ah, yeah, you know what? They've got a good, indie art scene." No, they
I,
don't know anything about anywhere than where they are, so they're
I
probably like,
know, which is also it brings me to my next point, which I found pretty humorous was so Van Helsing is in Rome in the Vatican,
yeah.
and the like head bishop guy was like, we're gonna send you to Transylvania, which is far in the east. And like there was a very brief cutscene of him riding on a horse and he was there, but like realistically,
Oh,
horseback, it would take like 6 months to
you
get
ready?
there.
Dude, you ready for this? I actually did the research into looking at how long it would take because I was like, "This is bullshit." Dude, swear to God. So, remember when he's like, "I'm gonna take Frankenstein back to Rome," or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, okay, ready for this? It is 1,100 miles away, okay? So, if you had a car in modern times, it would take you 18 hours. Okay, that's with a car, that's with paved highways and, like, GPS, okay? Not a fucking six-horse carriage with dirt roads, you don't know where the hell you're going, okay? So, I looked up how long it would take. It would take 55 days for him to get that distance.
Basically 2 months of all day travel.
55 days at the absolute quickest because, yeah, that's, like, not taking a lot of breaks, your
S-
horses, hoping they don't die, you know?
so like where is it supposed to be? Like kind of near Russia, right?
So, it's part of Romania, yeah, so
Okay.
Transylvania is, like, an area in Romania, so,
It's
yeah,
a
I
real
looked up.
place, right?
Yeah, it is. It's not a country, it's, like, part of Romania,
Right, right, right.
but, yeah, I looked it up and I was like I did the whole GPS thing, I was like, "Fucking bullshit, I'm calling bullshit."
Yeah, that was funny. Because they made it sound like they were like, it's such an urgent issue. Like, we have to get there immediately in 2 months.
Right. I would imagine it would probably be faster to almost go by the ocean because 'cause they're already in Italy. They can just go to the water and sail, but, yeah, they're like, "No, no, 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 we're gonna ride with my little Friar Tuck, like, little guy." Um,
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't notice it when I was younger, obviously, because this movie came out when we were freshmen,
yeah.
and the Faramir guy, when he like had sex with that lady, she was like, "Too bad you're a priest." He's like, "Well, technically, I'm just the friar boy." I was like,
I
"You
know.
you rascal."
This rascal. Yeah, I mean, like, the comedic relief of him, I was just kinda like, "Just kill me." Like, I get it, like, they need to have it for kids, but that one scene where, like, they walk through the mirror and they're like, "It's cold," and they go through that, and he's like, "I'm scared, I'm gonna go back. Doing, I hit the wall, duh." Like, who's that for? Is that for a kid to be like, "Ha ha, he thought he could go back, but he can't." Like,
I
who's
think
that for?
I think that guy was supposed to be like the doofus helper for Van Helsing, just like Igor was the bad helper. So like,
Sure.
he's clumsy.
But I feel like the movie would be cooler if it didn't have that, like, "Okay, we need, like, this
Well,
stupid joke."
I mean, if they you got to think if they made him like a badass, cool sidekick, that would take away from Van Helsing and Kate Beckinsale. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, this movie is not without its imperfections, but
Oh, yeah.
I will say though, this is one of the only vampire Dracula movies where Dracula is really portrayed as like sophisticated and elegant, opposed to like a blood sucking monster. You know?
Well, he's like the real Count Dracula, like, from the old Universal movies and, like, the person it's actually based off of, like Vlad the Impaler, and they talk about it in this, like, his
Yeah,
history.
because he's portrayed as usually like the human who was the conqueror who then turned, or a lot of movies like he's just like a demon from hell.
I think the reason they did that in this one is because it's like because they even say it, the vampires only kill us like what they need, and like they don't make a big problem because they're really plotting the biggest attack of all time with their demon spawn or whatever. So like if they cause too much attention, then the villagers be like, yeah, we got to get rid of this guy, and then they'll kill all of his babies, as opposed to keeping them at bay, keeping the babies growing, and then unleashing hell on everybody and taking over like the country.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you're right, he is more sophisticated, because he has to be, but he looks like a Fred Armisen character from, like, Portlandia. Like, I was like, "Who is this fucking Dracula?"
Yeah.
But yeah, he reminded me of that a little bit. I looked at this movie in 2 different ways because I was like, "Okay, if I try to take this seriously, I'm gonna hate it," which I kinda did, but I thought of it like It's a prequel to the Monster Squad Van Helsing. Have you ever seen that movie?
The Monster Squad?
Oh, it's like one of my favorites. We're having Mike Valenti on for that one in the next few days.
What? How have
Yeah.
I not heard of this?
Oh, dude, it's the best. It came out in '87. I won't go too much into it because we're about to do an episode on it, but dude, it's I have a poster in my room and it says, "Never send a man to do a kid's job. So who you gonna
Okay.
call? The Monster
A
Squad."
young group of monster fanatics attempt to save their hometown from Count Dracula and his monsters. Okay, that's cool.
So it's like in Monster Squad, Dracula comes back and he tries to get Frankenstein, just like in this movie, but he also has the Wolfman, he has a creature from the Black Lagoon, and he has the mummy. So he's got this like squad of monsters, and they're trying to get Frankenstein for some weird thing, just like this movie. So I was like, yo, because also Van Helsing's in the Monster Squad. So I was like, maybe this is like a prequel to that movie. So that helped me a little bit. And
Oh.
then the other thing I kinda looked at this was like, this would be actually a very fun video game. The way that it's, like, structured, it's just imagine the first level is, like, you fighting Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or whatever, and it's like a boss fight, and then you get these powers, and you have to go fight the vampire like, on the way to Transylvania, you're fighting off werewolves in the woods. Like, this could be a sick video game.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually they didn't release like a $40 Xbox version of it.
Oh, they did. They did. Hold
What?
on.
Are you
Hold
serious?
on. Yeah, I very vividly remember this. Hold on. Van Helsing video game. Here we go. PlayStation 2, Xbox. Okay, ready? Ready?
What?
Okay. Van Helsing's gameplay bears similarity to Devil May Cry by Capcom. It was released on May 6th, 2004 for the Xbox.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Oh shit. Didn't know
What?
that.
Yeah, it got very bad reviews. So that's probably why. Well,
Yeah.
I got a 69. That's not like the worst, but
No, it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
you know what I mean though? Where like we were watching it, we were like, I'd rather just like play this.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as, 13-year-old me would have thought. Which actually that's been happening a lot lately, and I don't know why it surprises me. Like, I'll see a movie on one of the streaming services and it came out like middle school, high school, and I remember being like, "Oh, dude, this movie's sick." Like, I definitely saw it a dozen times in high school. And then I watch it now and I'm like, "Yeah, it's kind of okay."
Can you think of another one or?
Oh, Deep Blue Sea. Yeah, I mean, I love Deep Blue Sea, but I think I just like watched it too many times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You ever like watch some like Star Wars? I can watch a bazillion times, but like Deep Blue Sea, and I can only watch it so many times.
I have the same thing with, The Punisher from 2004 where I'm like,
Oof.
I look at it with rose-colored glasses because I know
Dude,
it's not.
the original. I know we're getting off topic, but the original Punisher that was so good, so good.
What, with Dolph Lundgren or?
No, 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 not that original, but the other guy.
With Tom Jane, that's what I'm talking about from
Yeah, yeah.
2004, yeah.
Like when he's in the diner and the guy's playing the guitar, I'm like, this is so good. So
I mean, that's the thing, I feel the same way where I'm like, I look back at that movie and I'm like, "I know it's not that good," but, like, I was
good.
I was 14 and I loved it, so,
I
like,
know,
fuck
I know, I know.
yeah.
Yeah, getting back to Van Helsing, the only scene that I was genuinely confused about was when Van Helsing and Dracula were talking, and they were like talking about his origins, and Dracula
Yeah.
said, "Don't you remember?" Like they knew each other, or that Van Helsing was somehow hundreds of years old as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I got kicked in the head by a donkey while watching this because like, a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Is he somehow like immortal through the church, or did I miss something?
Well, I think what happened was Van Helsing, like, lost his memory and then goes to this, like, Holy Roman spirit thing or whatever, and they know his past, and they're like, "You need to, like, do these missions for us so that we can remove the sins of your past that you don't remember." And Hugh Jackson's like, "Wait, is this Wolverine or what movie are we doing? Like, I forgot my past again." Like, "Okay." So he's like, "All right, I'll do this." So then he goes off and does all these missions or whatever, and then I think Dracula's like, "You don't realize that you're like this ancestor of vampire hunters, Gabriel." I think, man, or I don't fucking know. Either he's like the angel Gabriel and Dracula is like a demon, or I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, we're probably looking way too into it, and Dracula was just probably just fucking with him. I don't
He just picks a name. He's like, "Yeah, like Jorge." He's like, "What?" He's like,
know.
"Yeah, remember?" He's like, "No, I don't."
Totally forgot in the end that they like turned into the monsters from the Rampage game.
Oh yeah.
I was like
Yeah.
this. I was like, this is so cheesy.
Dude, it's like, yeah, it's like the Wolf Ralph or whatever from Rampage, and then you've got Batman, the Bat Demon guy. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
it was, yeah, so much CGI that I was like, this is not gonna age well. I literally feel like I've seen better CGI in like that Pirates of the Caribbean porno spoof Blu-ray thing that came out a couple years ago. Like it's
Which
doesn't look good then.
I feel like that information kind of contradicts itself because Van Helsing obviously like he's a I feel like he's kind of like an anti-hero. Like he's clearly
Yeah.
a good guy. He's killing monsters, but his sin is that he is killing. Yet the only way you could defeat Dracula is, if someone who was pure of heart got bit by the werewolf. So is he technically pure of heart?
I think it depends on how you look at it. It's like, to Dracula, he's not pure of heart. He's like, he's the worst guy in the world. To me, it's like, but to the living or whatever, yeah, he's doing God's work. He's killing the unholy and the demons. But like, yeah, it's about your perspective. Like, it's like
Yes.
Batman. It's like,
Yeah,
is he doing the right thing? I don't know.
kind of Batman-esque because when he was on the church and Dr. Jekyll in the beginning like turned back into the human form, the police were like, "Damn you, Van Helsing!" And he was
Just
just like, "Are you serious?"
well, because they don't know. The
I
audience is
know,
like,
yeah.
"Hey, like you guys don't know what he just did." But to them, they're
Yeah.
just like, "Yo, this guy just fucking threw this guy off the building." And he's like, "No, you don't understand." It's like, "Yeah, we don't and we won't. So fuck you." And he's like, "All right, I got to run. I got to get out of here." Yeah. But the one scene that I literally my eyes like rolled out of my head is when Frankenstein falls off of the thing that he's getting electrocuted by and then swings down, saves the other guy, is like holding a wet rope that's electrocuting, and he's just like, "Help me! I want to live!" And then he falls down again, and then smashes through the window and saves Kate Beckinsale. And I'm like,
Perfect timing,
yeah, I
impeccable
was like,
timing.
oh, both impeccable timing and both completely unrealistic odds to the point where I was like, I don't even think a 14-year-old could not roll their eyes at this. Like,
When he was hanging off the bridge, like he's 375 pounds holding onto that wire.
which is also electrocuting too. He's like, and he's just like, ah, I want to live. It's like, do you? Yeah, but that whole sequence, so like him swinging down, the other guy's like, you're
Yeah.
supposed to die, and he's just like, well, fuck you, I don't want to.
Yeah, yeah. But speaking, I just remembered. Speaking of the mummy, the main priest guy who Van Helsing is like, I have sins to confess. He's also in the mummy. That priest.
Was he? Who was he in that?
He was the Mr. Hafez, which I think he was
Oh,
one of the bad guys. Yeah, if you look him up and click him, like his face is very rememberable.
oh yeah. I kind of
So
forgot about
that's
him.
cool. Like he was like, I always find it cool when like actors do other movies with each other. So he was like, "Hey Benny, like remember me?"
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, man. I will say the guy that played Benny, like the makeup on him, actually, I was like, this is pretty good. The guy Igor.
Yeah, it was good. And when he was like shocking, I think it was what was he shocking the Wolf Man, and Dracula's like, "Stop messing with him." He's like, "That's what I do."
Oh yeah, when he's got the cattle prod too, and he's like,
Yeah,
like
so funny.
it's dude, it's way too long for what it is, and it's just like
It is
monster
pretty long.
attack.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit of your past. Monster attack. Talk about what's happening. Monster attack. It's just like okay.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I forgot. Kate Beckinsale died.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I like that.
You like that she died?
I do because I think it actually helps the plot a little bit because it makes sense.
Why?
Like,
Why is that?
well, no, because if it was like every other movie, they would just be like, all right, let's ride off into the sunset on our next stupid adventure. And then you get like that friar guy being like, oh, like, glad we got away with that one, or like something stupid. But this one, it's like, yo, she actually died fulfilling her family's prophecy or whatever of being like these
True.
vampire hunters. And that's the one thing in the movie that I was kind of like, nice, nice. It helps the plot. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's unexpected.
I remember vividly that scene from when we were younger, where Kate Beckinsale's kind of under like Dracula's spell, like his love spell, and they're dancing in that big like I don't know, like circus type thing that they're doing.
Oh, yeah, at the end, like towards the end.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
vividly remember that scene where Dracula stops everyone and they all turn and they're all vampires.
That did happen.
Yeah, it's scary, dude.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because yeah, at first you're just like, "Wait, he's just gonna, like, eat her neck in front of all these people?" And then you're like,
Because that's the first time in the movie. Up until that point, it's literally only Dracula and his three brides, and it kind of like hints at there's no more vampires, but he has like
Right.
dozens of vampires.
Yeah, so kind of like, it leads to be like, alright, so are they, like, going to each village and doing this? Like, they're, like, kind of like, "Hey, listen, we're only gonna kill, like, one of you every, like, few months," or whatever, but they're doing that at a lot of places.
Yeah, I wonder what they were doing when like Van Helsing was attacking Dracula's castle. Like I would have been like, "Hey guys, like come on, come help me out." Like
Yeah, they're like,
fucking Van
"Nah."
Helsing.
Well, because yeah, even at the party too, he's just like, "I give you Van Helsing." They should all be like, "Yo, this is like the famous vampire hunter. Let's all fucking kill him." And they do, but then after like a few of them die, it's like, well, he has that like flashlight from the Ghostbusters thing. We're not gonna fight him that with that. Like
It's got the
Dracula's like, "Hey," it's like, "I need you guys." Like, "Well, but he's got that thing." It's like he
he's
had
also
one.
he also has like that fully automatic crossbow.
And also, why does Dracula it's like, "Dracula can only be killed by a werewolf." It's like, since when? Like, I thought there was, like, a million things that could kill Dracula, like, not in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, typically it's like a stake through the
Steak.
heart.
Yeah, crosses burn him, holy water burns him, garlic burns him,
Well,
sunlight.
the cross did burn him. Remember, he like grabbed it and it like burned him, and he was like, "Rah!" And then
Oh,
he
yeah.
was fine after.
The other thing is, like, I'm sorry, but, like, even if it's a cloudy day, like, everyone's like, "You can still get color on a cloudy day, like, put sunscreen on." Like, people always say that, but in this movie, like, dude, if you're a vampire and it's daytime, it doesn't matter how cloudy it is, there's still fucking sun.
That's true. That is, you know, if we're going by the rules of vampires, that's correct.
I mean, this is a nod to, like, the original Dracula and Frankenstein and werewolf movies from the 40s and the 30s, so it's like, yo, you gotta follow your own rules a little bit.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
turn this into, like, a Twilight fucking thing where, like, it's like the werewolves can turn into werewolves, like, whenever they want, and the vampires can be in the sunlight, but, like, only on cloudy days. It's like, well, this isn't really Dracula then. It's not really it's, like, your own version of it. So, I don't know.
Also, kind of curious because Kate Beckinsale's brother, who was also like a part of the family who kills monsters, turned into the werewolf. I'm assuming he had a pure heart. Yet he didn't really have any control, but somehow like Van Helsing could fight him and kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's probably looking way too into this.
Well, his dad too, they're like, "Your father couldn't handle it either." And he's like, "Daddy," and he, like, looks at that corpse or whatever. And so, did that mean that his dad was also a werewolf that, like, fucked up or what?
I don't know. Apparently, only Van Helsing was strong enough to do it.
Yeah, and I also like how the werewolf powers basically it's like, "All right, listen, when it's convenient for the plot, you're gonna, like, half turn into a werewolf, and then, like, you'll be able to, like, jump up, like, 200 feet, and then, like, but then you'll be like, 'Oh, I'm a werewolf fully, but not really,' and then so I'm just like, okay, like, he's either a fucking werewolf or he's not. Like, you can't do this, like, thing." And how many full fucking moons are there in Transylvania?
I don't know. Isn't there only like one full moon a month or something?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I guess that's why this movie's annoying because the werewolves can just keep turning into werewolves whenever they want. So you're just kind of like, hey. And then of course, his antidote is in like the acid from Alien like thing, and it's like, all right, you're gonna tell me that's all he has, and it's in an unguarded room. I guess the acid is pretty bad,
Yeah,
but
I mean, you have to get into Count Dracula's castle, which I'm
yeah.
assuming is hard enough, and then into the room through the acid.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, if this was a video game, like if this really was like done by like, the guy that did Metal Gear Solid or something, I'd be like, this game is awesome. But the fact that I have to sit there for 2 hours and watch shitty CGI and just one-liners, I'm like, yeah, it's not doing what it used to do for me.
It's good for what it is.
Yeah, but you know what's funny, man? The Mummy's still good. Like that still holds up. It's still fun, and it's like in the same vein of this. But for some reason, the Mummy just did it much better.
I think the original, the Mummy one, was fantastic. Like, it was so good, so good.
Yeah, and it still holds up.
Yeah, I don't know. They kind of went more with like a childish aspect to this.
You might disagree with this, but I think that Brendan Fraser is just more charismatic as a lead, like in a movie like this, than Hugh Jackman is.
I mean, Van Helsing's character wasn't really like goofy or funny, whereas
Right.
Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, like he'd always have like a one-liner joke after something happened.
Yeah, and I guess that's maybe why I like it more because he is always like that. Where Van Helsing, it's like when they do one-liners in this movie, I'm like, shut up, just shut up.
It's funny the first time they introduced Kate Beckinsale when he got to Transylvania, and she like came out with like perfectly curled hair and like her eyebrows done. I'm like, oh, what do they have, fucking eyebrow people in Transylvania? I always find shit like that funny, where like the movies from like the 1400s and their teeth are like perfect, but realistically they probably have fucked up grills back then.
Oh, dude, I think about that all the time too. I'm just like, what was sex like? Where they're just like, oh my god, you stink.
Yeah, but
Like, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I don't think oral sex was a thing until showers were invented. Like,
But dude, you got to realize if everybody smelled like shit for their
Yeah.
entire lives, it was probably normal.
Well, your teeth too, like, when you're kissing somebody, like, nobody has fucking Colgate back then.
Everybody's teeth were like that, so it was normal.
I don't care about, like, if they're crooked, I'm talking about, like, how bad your breath smells. You're eating, like, raw pig maybe they're eating cooked pig,
Yeah,
but
but
they're eating.
everybody's eating the same shit.
I know, I'm just like, imagine you go, like,
But it's
1 day
funny.
without brushing your teeth, like, trying kissing somebody to be like, like, but
Yeah, dude. I mean, it would essentially be like try going a month in summer without a shower and you can't like brush your teeth or put deodorant on. Like you'd fucking stink.
oh,
And
yeah.
that's how it was forever. They're like, we only bathe once a month. I'm like, why?
Oh,
Who
if they're
created that
lucky.
rule?
And in between, they're, like, fighting vampires and riding horses and stuff, so they reek, dude. Nobody's wearing Old Spice, like, they're disgusting. Yeah, it's overall, I definitely am not gonna watch this movie again unless, like, I'm being paid or have, like, a violent threat against me, like, I'm done. Is I, Frankenstein, like, a sequel to this or no?
Not that I'm aware of. It has. I don't think so.
Okay, I just didn't know, like, if they actually tried to do because it made money. I mean, the budget was huge. It was like I think it was like 180,000,000 and it made 300,000,000. So, like, that's a moderate success,
You talking
but
about I Frankenstein or Van Helsing?
oh, no, 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 that movie fucking tanked. Yeah, Van Helsing. Van
Okay.
Helsing, the budget, let's just see really quick.
I'm guessing it made money because if you like Kate Beckinsale, you're gonna go. If you like Hugh Jackman, you're gonna go. If you're a Dracula fan,
Yeah, I mean, it has mass appeal because, yeah, it has like that summer action blockbuster horror vibe. So you've got all those people, but then also not just in America, you also have like the entire European, Eastern European people that are like, oh, this is kind of like about us, or I mean, like about our history and stuff. I mean, not really, but
yeah, dude. I'm guessing people in Romania and Transylvania when this happens, they're like, "Huh, another stupid Dracula movie."
yeah, it's like, can anybody make a movie about Transylvania that's like about anything but Dracula? It's like, okay. But yeah, so it was a 160 to 170 million dollar budget, and it made 300 million worldwide, which sounds like a success, but in reality, it's not. I mean, it is, but it's not like what they were hoping for.
Yeah, Transylvania is a region within Romania.
Right. So
That's cool.
yeah, I mean, a lot of fucked up shit must have happened there for so many stories to kind of come out of it. So
It actually has. It's called Bran Castle, which is a Gothic fortress, which is supposed to be like the one who's associated with Dracula's castle. So I guess you can like go there.
huh.
And they probably like their main source of income in that region is like dumb fucking American tourists.
Probably. I mean, seriously, they're just like, "Oh, this is like from the Keanu movie. This is like the one thing. Take the picture." Yeah,
Come take your picture with Dracula, kids.
yeah. Well, hey, I mean, if you're in Romania, why the hell not? You're like, "Let's go."
I
But,
guess so.
well, any last minute thoughts on Van Helsing, Justin?
If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend you watch it. It's not going to blow your mind. But like you said, probably won't be watching it ever again just because I don't need to. But I would definitely recommend it. I would give it a solid 6
6 Keanus?
out of 10 Keanu's. Yeah.
Oh, out of 10. Okay,
Where
okay.
you out of 10 Keanu's.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, if I'm going out of 10, this is like a 3. If I'm going out of 5,
Oh, dude.
this is like a 1.8 out of 5. Yeah. I
No,
mean,
no. First of all, you can base this movie justification for watching it alone if you think Kate Beckinsale is attractive. If you just want to like watch, if you just want to watch her face on screen for 2 hours, or if you like Hugh Jackman, like I think a 6 is fair.
okay, all right, yeah, no, I mean, hey, it's not amazing. It's definitely not scary. It's bad, a lot of CGI, but you know what you're getting if you want to watch it. So
If you ever want to know what an Eastern European accent sounds like on Kate Beckinsale,
that's
this
the
is it.
whole. There you go. All right, so Eric already spun the wheel and it chose It Follows for tomorrow's episode. So Eric will be back and we will be re-recording that one because last time we did it last year, the mics were not so great. So I'm going to do that one again. But Justin, thanks again for filling in and we will talk to everybody tomorrow.
All right, see you.
See ya.